did a poll online through our YouTube page, and I said, is Christian nationalism a good thing or bad thing? And then I gave three responses. Yes, it's a great thing. No, it's heresy. It depends on how you define it. And that's been the overarching question is, how do you define this? Because some people say, well, I'm a Christian and I believe in America and I believe in the founding document of it. So if you want to call me a Christian nationalist, fine. But that doesn't seem to be the form that is being so portrayed within the media itself. It's more of, as Pete said, a toxic form of Christian nationalism. How do we help the people understand this and move forward in the midst of our pluralistic democracy?
Yeah. Yeah. These are great questions, Travis.
I gave you like 10. I feel so bad. I'm the worst at asking questions. I gave like 10 questions in one. So pick one. Pick one of them.
So where to even start? First, I definitely agree that, kind of the understanding of what Christian nationalism is, it does seem to be fuzzy. It morphs, and it also seems to be political. I've heard a different talk show host or whatever say, "Oh, well, Christian nationalism is the belief that that the country was founded on Christian principles." And my gosh, if you define Christian nationalism that way, you're going to have a huge chunk of the country who would fall into the that category, and that's. I don't think that's the case. Not long ago, I had the real pleasure of getting to talk with Rich Mao and Paul Miller on Christian nationalism. And they have both written books on it. Rich Mao has written a book called How to Be a Patriotic Christian. And Paul Miller wrote about what Christian nationalism is. And they would define it, quite differently, that Christian patriotism being a great thing, Christian nationalism, not so much. And part of this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, loving the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. So that's the first thing you do. Then you love your neighbor. Augustine talked about virtue being the proper ordering of your loves.
Right.
And so, I don't want to put words into Rich Mao's mouth. He's very capable of speaking for himself. But, I think he would basically say that a Christian patriotism is a well-ordered love of country, which is you love your country, you love God more, you love your neighbor even more, but they all kind of inform each other. A Christian nationalism, by contrast, would be kind of more of a syncretism of the love of God and a love of country. And that love of country, it would also, in terms of like being more nationalistic, it's more exclusionary and often kind of domination oriented. Such that, my country, right or wrong and better than yours, essentially, as opposed to, a love of country, which, is the kind of love where its injustices are not a matter of indifference or celebration, but, are, like, loving any person, something you want better when wrong is done. So, I think just kind of anecdotally, generally what we think of when we think of Christian nationalism are people who have kind of syncretized the two and somehow, usually, well, I think C.S. Lewis talked about this. Anytime you kind of have Christianity and it's usually, whatever it's being combined with, it kind of comes out on top and, and God's second banana.